Do you know that not all Almajiri are beggars? When many Nigerians hear the word Almajiri, a familiar image often comes to mind. Young boys walking the city streets with bowls in their hands, asking strangers for food or money. But that image tells only part of a much older story.
The term Almajiri derived from the Arabic word al-muhajir, meaning a seeker who leaves home in pursuit of knowledge. For centuries across what is now the northern Nigeria, this represented a respected Islamic learning tradition.
Long before modern schooling system arrived, Quranic education formed the backbone of intellectual life across the Sokoto Caliphate. Young students traveled to study under learned scholars, known locally as malamai.
Memorizing the Quran, learning ethics, jurisprudence, literacy, and community values. Historical record shows that this system was once operated within a strong social contract.
Communities provided food, shelter, and care for students as an act of charity and collective responsibility.
Many graduates became teachers, judges, administrators, leaders, and respected religious scholars. So, what changed?
Colonial era restructuring in the early 20th century altered the governance and education system across northern Nigeria.
Traditional institutions lost state support, urban migration accelerated, and economic pressure deepens. Over the time, communal welfare and the network that sustained the Almajiri students became weak.
And what remained was the structure without sufficient protection. Reports indicate that millions of children in northern Nigeria are enrolled in informal Quranic learning system. Some students lived under responsible supervision and received structured instruction.
Others, however, face poverty, displacement, and neglect, forcing them into the street.
This distinction matters because not every Almajiri child is a beggar. Many are simply students pursuing religious education in modest circumstances.
Reducing the entire system to street begging risks misunderstanding of both its history and potential. Experts increasingly argue that the challenge is not Almajiranshi itself, but regulation, child protection, and integration.
Successful reform efforts have focused on combining Quranic education with literacy, vocational skills, healthcare access, and formal schooling standards, preserving religious tradition while safeguarding children's welfare.
The real question facing Nigeria is not whether the system should exist, it is whether it can evolve. Can tradition and modern education work together?
Can communities, religious leaders, and government rebuild the protective structures that once defined the system? Because behind every label is a child, and behind many Almajiri students is not abandonment, but a search for knowledge.
The challenge now is ensuring that search lead not to the street, but to opportunity.